Hey guys, what's going on? RetroGamer here, and welcome back to another review featuring the Sony PSP. So the Sony PSP first hit the shelves of Japan on December 12th, 2004, and then a little bit after that, March 24th, 2005 in North America, and saw a retail value of about $230 in Japan and $250 in North America. And over its 10-year lifespan, sold over 80 million units, and I can truly see why. After playing the Sony PSP, I can see why everyone loves this thing, and I can see why it is one of the best handhelds ever made. I grew up with a Nintendo DS, and I didn't ever play the PSP as a kid, and I never even knew anyone who had a PSP. But I just bought this a year ago, and after playing it, I can truly see why everyone loves this thing, and as I said, this is one of the greatest things Sony has ever made. But with that out of the way, let's take a look at some of the features of the Sony PSP. So taking a look at the Sony PSP, this is the Sony PSP 2000. There were a couple different models. There was the 1000, 2000, 3000, and then the PSP Go. And a lot of people ask which one they should go with, the 1000, 2000, the 3000, or the PSP Go. It really depends on what you want. The 2000 or 3000 are the best bets, honestly. The 3000 has a better screen, but the 2000 has things that the 3000 doesn't have. It's always a toss-up between 2000 and 3000. The PSP Go is really nice, but it doesn't have a UMD drive, so you have to download all the games. But the PlayStation Store is shut down now, so you'd have to buy a card that already has downloaded games on there. So if you were looking to pick up a PSP, definitely go for the 2000 or 3000 for sure. But taking a look at some of the features, we have the standard PlayStation D-pad, we have an analog stick over here, we have the home button right here, the volume up, volume down, the PSP logo. This is the brightness. It has 4 levels of brightness. This is to mute the music or have the music on. Select and start. This is where you charge it. Has 2 little things, hold and power. The power switch itself, you slide that up. X, circle, square, and triangle. You have 2 speakers up top, Sony, PlayStation. You can put a little wrist strap right here, 2 little light indicators over here. On the bottom, you have your headphone jack, and as I said, you could charge it over here. On the side is where you put the memory stick. Now, the memory sticks back in the day, I wasn't really aware of the prices back when I was a kid, but I've heard other reviewers say that these were very expensive back in the day. But nowadays you can get them for relatively cheap, and you can even get adapters and whatnot, so it's a lot easier nowadays. Up top we have L&R, and then we have this port right here where you could turn the Wi-Fi off and on. This port right here did a couple different things. You could even plug in a little wire that you could run to your TV, and you could output the screen to the TV, so you could play this. So you could play your PlayStation games on the TV, which was really, really cool. And then on the back it says PSP, and then this little lid is the coolest thing out of the entire PSP. This is the optical drive for the UMD games. And so this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is, I believe, the only handheld to include some sort of disk drive. And I think that is really cool. It's one of the coolest things of the PSP, if not the coolest thing ever. And we'll get a little bit more into those, but that is one of the best things about this thing. It's a small feature, but that's one of the things I love most about the PSP is that it has that little optical drive. So that's it for the PSP. Let's take a look at the charger. So the charger is just a very standard charger. You have this end that goes into the PSP, this end that goes into the wall. It's very standard charger, but you're going to want the charger that's compatible with the PSP. You don't want to be blowing this thing up. And then we move on to the games. The games are really cool. The really cool thing about the PSP is it is region-free. You can play Japanese games or you can play American games. However, they made UMD movies, and the movies are not region-free. Movies work a little differently, and so the movies, if you want to watch a Japanese movie, you have to have a Japanese PSP, or if you want to watch an American movie, you have to have an American PSP. So that's the way it works. But games, they are region-free, which is really, really nice. And so, taking a little look at the games, here are the UMDs. They come in these nice little cases. I always love these little cases because they're easy to put on shelves. And so here's the UMD itself. It's encased in this plastic shell right here. And then the back has the UMD. I'm not sure if you can really scratch these bad at all. I've seen a lot of people, I've seen these break, and I've seen these all cracked up, and a lot of people have been told to be very careful with these. I've only had this PSP for about a year. I always put the games back into the cases. I have not any problems, but if you're giving this to your kid, you're probably going to want to make sure that these are safe. But what it does is you just open the lid, you put the UMD in this way, so the rounded edge, you put it inside, you put it in, and then it starts spinning up, and then you're ready to go. You're ready to play some PSP games. And so let's take a look at the interface of the Sony PSP. So turning it on, it has pretty much the same layout as the PlayStation 3. If you're familiar with the PlayStation 3 interface, then you're pretty much going to be at home with the Sony PSP. It is pretty much identical. So turning it on, as it loads up here, you can see we have the game, the UMD is already loaded up. You have the network, the PlayStation Store, video, music, photos, extras, stuff to edit with the settings, all your basic stuff you would need. And you could also download games as well on the PlayStation Store, so then you could have games on your memory card stick, and you could fit quite a number of games on here, depending on the card you had, for sure. But you could fit quite a number of games, and honestly, the PSP is just such an amazing handheld. I can see why it sold so well. The graphics are quite amazing. It seems like PlayStation 2 graphics to me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems pretty much up to par with PlayStation 2 graphics, which is awesome. You know, having pretty much a PlayStation 2 handheld is great. It kind of sucks that there isn't another analog stick. You know, it's just the one stick, but it works fine for what it needs to do, and the games are absolutely awesome on this thing. And if you're looking to pick up a PSP, I would highly recommend it. Either get the PSP 2000 or the 3000. Either one, though, is going to be great. And I said, if you're looking to pick up a PSP in 2020, then I would highly recommend it. But guys, that was my review on the Sony PSP. So guys, from RetroGamer, if you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys back here with another review. See you guys then.